Does RAID 1 increase performance with Linux mdadm? I have a cheap 2-bay NAS with a 2 TB HDD. To be robust against disk failure, I'm thinking of buying a second 2 TB HDD and putting it in RAID 1 with Linux mdadm. The file system is ext4. Will this increase or decrease the performance of the NAS? What about just read or write performance? There seem to be lots of opinions about this online but no consensus. Thanks. Edit. So already I've got 3 different answers, a fair bit faster. You won't notice and will decrease the performance if anything. I am interested primarily in read performance. Wikipedia says the read performance can go up roughly as a linear multiple of the number of copies. Which one is it? Edit 2. I've found mounting evidence in support of RAID 1 increasing read performance, including the MD man page. Changes are written to all devices in parallel. Data is read from any one device. The driver attempts to distribute read requests across all devices to maximize performance. I also discovered MD's RAID 10 with layout equals F2, which provides redundancy of RAID 1 with the read performance of RAID 0 and can be used with just 2 drives. The write performance is reduced however, as a sequential write involves both drives seeking back and forth between distant parts of the drive. Man MD, for details.
Yes, Linux implementation of RAID 1 speeds up disk read operations by a factor of 2 as long as 2 separate disk read operations are performed at the same time. That means reading one 10 GB file won't be any faster on RAID 1 than on a single disk, but reading 2 distinct 10 GB files will be faster. To demonstrate it, just read some data with DD. Before performing anything, clear the disk read cache with sync and amp semicolon and amp echo 3 and gt /proc/sys/vm/drop_caches. Otherwise her palm will claim super fast reads. Single file. Two files. Reading 10 GB of data took 65 seconds, whereas reading 10 GB plus 10 GB equals 20 GB data took 68.7 seconds in total, which means multiple disk reads benefit greatly from RAID 1 on Linux. Skip equals $count part is very important. The second process reads 10 GB of data from the 10 GB offset. Jared's answer and SSH's comments referring to this URL are wrong. The benchmark from there proves disk reads don't benefit from RAID 1. However, the test was performed with Bonnie++ benchmarking tool, which doesn't perform 2 separate reads at one time. The author explicitly states Bonnie++ is not usable for benchmarking RAID arrays, referred to README.
Yes, you will get a reading performance boost plus the redundancy. You can easily imagine that as you can read the parts of the files at the same from 2 different HDDs as the files are on both of the HDDs. So theoretically, if the RAID controller does its job right, you could gain a speedup of ON.
Man4MD states, note that the read balancing done by the driver does not make the RAID 1 performance profile be the same as for RAID 0. A single stream of input will not be accelerated, for example a single DD, but multiple sequential streams or a random workload will use more than one spindle. In theory, Having an N-disk RAID 1 will allow N-sequential threads to read from all disks. To top it off, in practice, based on ISDAD output being observed on a typical 2HDDS software RAID setup, there's none of balancing. In fact, it effectively looks like mdadm's option write mostly is always on.
No, you will not receive any benefits while reading from mdadm RAID1. I was asking myself about this some time ago. Stat shows disk usage. Also BWMing really helps, especially in this case, since it can show read/write usage on separate mdadm RAID members. Just push N, next, a few times. It will switch from interface statistics to disk stats. Then switch to max values with T to see max read/writes from each disk. You will see following. Doing write to RAID 1 volume BWMing shows 2x writes, writing to 2 disks at same time. Doing read from RAID 1 volume BWMing shows reading from single drive, RAID member.
Do you want the full picture? The answer is yes.